Let's take a closer look at some of the features you'll experience with Nearpod. Nearpod lets you create your own lessons right from scratch. You can upload a Google slideshow, a PowerPoint, or even a PDF. You can search their lesson database, and there are thousands of lessons to choose from. And they allow you to edit those lessons so that you can make them best fit your needs. I say the word lesson loosely because you don't have to have a ton of slides to make up a lesson. You can have one slide and have that be your Nearpod lesson. Nearpod gets its content from various companies, so they've partnered with quite a few. Something to note as we go through it and look at the companies that Nearpod uses, some of these do require you to have a subscription. So even though they are built into the Nearpod lesson, if you don't have a subscription to some of these sites, you can't use that content. What you would need to do is you would need to edit the Nearpod lesson and put content in that you have access to. In addition to the content that Nearpod offers, you also get all of those interactive pieces that you experienced as a student. And we're going to go through each of these to see what they look like from the teacher perspective as well as the student perspective. So Time to Climb is a game. You can add as many questions as you want. You indicate the correct answer after your answer options are in, and your answer options can be words or images. From the student perspective, this is what Time to Climb looks like. I get to choose a character, and I click start. It gives me a countdown, and I choose my answers. If other classmates were playing with me, all of their little characters would be on the hill with me, and you see I have a time limit. So when I get the correct answer, I get to move up the hill. And then it takes me to my next question. If I get it wrong, it lets me know I'm wrong, shows me the correct answer, and I still get to move up the hill. You notice this drop down here. This just lets me take notes if I want, or I could exit the lesson. So here you'll see that there are the image choices. And that's Time to Climb. The next interactive activity you could put in is an open-ended question. So you would simply type your question in. You have the option to add a timer so that it limits to students the amount of time that you'd like them to take answering it. You can add media, such as an audio recording, an image, a video, a PDF, to make your question easier to understand or to enhance the question. And the student audio recordings will allow students to record their response to the open-ended question. Something to note is right now this is in beta, which means it's still in the development mode, so changes may come to it. Let's take a look and see what an open-ended question looks like from the student perspective. So here I am as a student. I'm using the website to participate in this Nearpod lesson, and you'll see that here's the question my teacher has for me. My teacher added an audio recording. How many letters are in the alphabet? So as a teacher, I read it to my students. However, the open-ended questions on the website have a feature called Immersive Reader. And if I click on that, it brings me to a different screen and it allows me to make some changes to my screen if I wish. So for example, I can change the size of my text if that's what I need. I can change the colors if that's what I need. And I can have it read to me.
How many letters are in the alphabet?
So this is a great feature to have for students who need it. It's not in every question type, and I do find it a little clunky, but I also know that Nearpod works to improve things as they go along. So now as a student, I can go ahead and I can type my answer right here and submit, or I can record my answer. 26. And I can listen back or I can delete it and then I can submit. Your students will need to submit their answers. The next question type are matching pairs. So in a matching pair, you would provide directions for the student. This also has a timer option, and you can add as many matching pairs as you want. It's not like a memory game, so they're not flipping cards over and remembering where they are. They're just simply going to match the pairs that go together. What's really nice is that Nearpod offers you the ability to add some math symbols into your pairs. This is what it looks like from a student perspective. Here I am as a student. Here are my matching pairs. I would simply click on the ones that I think matched. Let me show you what happens if I get it wrong. So it shows me I'm wrong and I get to try again. You can have many matching pairs. You can have as few as you want or as many as you want. Quiz mode lets you assess your students in a more formal way. So they're multiple choice questions. They don't offer open-ended. It's similar to the other content pieces that I've shown you. You put your question in, you put in your answer options, you say which one is correct. You could add some kind of media to enhance your question. And you can have as many questions as you want. And you can also give a time limit to your students. Now, when you do save your quiz, Nearpod offers to convert your quiz to a time to climb game to make it more fun for the students. It's completely up to you. So if I'm a student and I've reached the point where I now am going to take the quiz within Nearpod, this is what it looks like. So if I had multiple questions, it would show up here. I only put one in for our purposes, and you'll see the immersive reader option is there in quiz mode. So I do have those abilities to turn on any features I might need. And of course, I can have it read to me. I can have my answer choices read to me as well.
A.
By clicking on the words. And you'll notice as I click on the words, it also gives me a picture clue. So I choose my answer. And as a student, I need to submit. The next type is a Flipgrid. Flipgrid is an amazing tool that we are not going to take time to go into right now. Essentially what happens is you would add your Flipgrid URL like it asks, and the students will be brought right to that grid or that topic upon reaching this Nearpod slide. Draw It is another great interactive piece. So you can convert any slide into a Draw It slide. You can also upload any kind of image you want. So it could end up being a labeling activity. It could be a graphing activity. It could be any kinds of those things that you wish. Let's take a look at what a Draw It looks like from a student perspective. So here's the Draw It as a student. Again, here's that immersive reader feature to have the question read to me. All my tools are right down here. The first time you have students use it, I suggest that you give them some time to fiddle and play around with it so they get used to the tools. As I click on a tool, I do have size options as well as color options. You notice the tools disappear as I draw, and when I stop drawing, they reappear. There is a highlighter option as well. I can put in some text. And again, I have size and color options. I can delete my text, and if I don't like my drawing, I can click on the eraser, I can change the size, and I can erase. When I'm all finished, I do need to click submit. As your students are drawing, you're going to be able to see what they're doing, and that's the case for every single activity type. Once they hit submit, that kind of cements their answer in. The collaborative board is probably one of my favorite pieces in Nearpod. If you're familiar with the program Padlet, it's a lot like that. And it basically allows students to put stickies onto a board and work together with one another. So this is what it looks like. You have a few style choices. You put your topic in or your question, and you can give a description. You can also add an image if you wish. Let's take a look at what it looks like from the student perspective. This is what a collaborative board looks like from a student perspective. So here is the question. Now, as the teacher, I can decide to have to approve each student's response before it goes on the board, or I can have it just go up. going to type my answer and I'm going to post it. And you'll see it shows up right here. You don't see my name, but my teacher can. I always tell my students, don't do anything with this heart, because most of the time when I have them use the heart, it is not just because they like a response that was put up by a classmate. Oftentimes I'll tell them, click the heart on an answer you didn't think of, or click the heart on an answer that you've never tried before. So that's how I use the heart to get away from the who has the most likes type of situation. A poll is just simply asking students a question. There's no right or wrong answer, and it's just a way for you to gain information from them for various reasons. Here's the poll from the student perspective. I've added a picture here so students can have a little bit of a picture. If I click on it, it makes it bigger, so that might help them with their answer, might help them understand the question better. Again, here's the immersive reader for them. They choose their answer and they submit. The fill in the blank activity is kind of neat. You take a text and you put it right into the box here, and you can decide what your text style looks like. After you've put your text in, you then go ahead and click on the words that you would like to be blank, and that's what the students need to fill in. Here's the fill in the blank from a student perspective. So here I need to read. You'll notice that there is no immersive reader for this one, and I do have choices. So I would drag my choices up and when I'm all finished, I click done. And it tells me if I'm correct or not. The final activity I'd like to show you is the memory test. So you can add that in. And you'll see just from here that the memory test is just pictures. So it's not a matching game. It's just playing that memory game that you think of maybe from when you were a kid and all your cards are flipped over and you have to remember where they are. So you can search images, or you can add your own images. You can also change how many cards there are per game. Here's the memory test from a student side. So I click on a card and I need to find its match. Not right, so it closes up again. Oh, there we go. So once I've made a match, it stays active. I'm not going to go through and play the whole game. Take that time to do that. Okay, so besides the content that you can put into a Nearpod, you get a post-session report. So after you run a Nearpod session, you will end the session, and in the reports section on the left-hand side of your Nearpod dashboard, you will find all of the sessions, all of the Nearpod lessons you've run. And when you click on one, you get to see the summary of student engagement for that lesson. And you can also go through and click on each question and see the summary per question by student. So you get to see the student responses. What's really nice is if you're working with a colleague, you can share this with them via email, or you can download a PDF to share with them as well. Now that we've gone over all of that, the next thing that I would like for you to work on is using Nearpod. And you're going to use this slide deck to do that. I'll share this link with you. And this slide deck is simple to use. You'll see in each square there is a topic. You can follow these topics right in order, or you can simply skip ahead to a topic that you need more information about. So for example, if you already know how to log in and you already know how to navigate, maybe you want to know a little bit more about searching. So I click on search and it brings me to the appropriate slide for searching. When I'm finished, I click on the house button and it brings me back to the main menu. And now I want to know, well, what do I do after I find a lesson? It gives me some directions there as well. As always, if you have any questions about Nearpod as you're going through this, don't hesitate to reach out to me.